so I guess we should close it.
Microphone test.
Yeah, snap it in. All right, it's not ready yet?
If this thing goes through its motions here. There you go. Now we're good.
All right, good evening, everybody. It's now 6 o'clock. Welcome to the May 15th, 2025 Town of Greensboro Council meeting. If you would please. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor Psively.
Let us pray. Oh, Holy God, thank you so much for this day, and we thank you for this opportunity to gather here for this meeting. We pray, oh Lord, that you would watch over each and every one of us, guide us, direct us as we are here tonight to take care of business, to have conversation, ask questions. So Lord, just give us the path that you would desire for us to take. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, thank you, Pastor. Next up on the list is Kim Ernst.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I had sent an email to the council on April 22nd regarding some concerns I had about the sale of Town Hall. I watched or listened to the audio of the Zoom meeting that got bombed back on February 10th. And then I followed that up by rewatching the video of the public hearing on March 6th. In doing so, I'm just going to read through quickly some notes that I took regarding that. All for One had a full asking price of $184,999, and they wanted to close on February 21st, but the council held offers for 3 weeks, so that couldn't happen. They wanted inspections. It was a hard money conventional loan, borrowing from someone outside of a bank. They planned to use it as a residence. All inspections besides chimney was what they wanted to do. They had 10 days to get the inspections done, and they would have, in that time, the house would have to be taken off the market, and the realtor said that the number of days they were given to do the inspection could be reduced to 7 if they wanted to counter or change the date of settlement. Kathleen Brenton, all for two, Kathleen Brenton, who also was the listing agent for the town, was representing a potential buyer, 410 Holdings Corporation, who was an investor with 9 other rental properties and has a management company who manages said properties. He offered $165,000 cash with no inspections. He was the lowest offer received. Per Christina's inquiry, Kathleen believed the council could counter this offer and get closer to asking price at about $175,000. The initial offer, offer 3. The initial offer was asking price, $184,999, and after they were told there were other offers on the table, they submitted a new offer of $191,000. It was 2 brothers who wanted to use it as a residence, who owned 3 Domino's Pizza franchises. They wanted to offer $2,500 in earnest money deposit and a closing on March 25th. The only inspection they wanted was mechanical and structural for safety reasons. The realtor thought, and the council thought, that it would pass both of those inspections. They were pre-approved for a conventional loan. And it said the buyer would deliver the earnest money within 5 days of acceptance of their offer. The mayor asked if the home was in good move-in ready shape, how Kathleen how much she thought they could list the property at. She said a good starting point would be $250,000. He said he wanted to be prepared for resident questions as to if the town should have invested money into repairs to get a higher asking price and whether it would be worth it. They were not in immediate need of selling because the town office had already been relocated. The remediation of mold and asbestos costs was discussed at $28,000. Christina asked if the potential buyer of offer 2 keeps the rest of his properties tidy. It was not known other than he has a management company. Joe spoke up and asked, and they both mentioned that we don't need any more slumlords in Greensboro to deal with. I appreciate you guys for saying that. Pete said he would prefer to sell to someone who will personally occupy it because they can't control tenants, their behavior, and how they keep their yard. I appreciate you for saying that. Christina made a motion to accept the third offer for $191,000 with the structural inspection. She then introduced ordinance 2025-0-1 for the purchase of the property at 113 Main Street by offer 3. Christina sponsored the ordinance, Bob seconded it, and there was no opposition. The public hearing date was March 6th. The public has the right, it was stated that the public has the right to hear, but the council decided to sell the property. Purchase agreement can't be signed until after the hearing was made known. The council would do what they want, but they have to present it to the public and follow procedure. The public hearing, the mayor asked for comments from the public without a copy of the ordinance in front of us. Chris then mentioned the police department location and what the sale money was being used for. Tammy said a little bit of water sewer reserve and debt reduction. Did that happen? Mayor went on to read the ordinance after the public hearing was closed with the sale price of $165,000 cash, which was not what the original ordinance was passed for in the 210 meeting. So that is where my confusion is coming in. What conversations and what happened between the special meeting where there was an ordinance entered for a sale price of $191,000 versus a final sale price of $165,000? How did that get switched up?
Well, you said a lot, quite frankly, and I don't know how to respond to all those things that you said. You make it sound like all that happened in one meeting when it did not. The gist of it is that we had 3 offers, and obviously we tried to take the most amount that we could. The 2 highest offers fell through, so we were left with the $165,000 cash offer, and the council voted to take that offer.
Okay. So what happens between, and this is purely me needing to understand, what happens when an ordinance is passed for a certain amount? Because none of this was discussed at the public hearing. It wasn't discussed that the sale fell through.
The attorney can correct me if I'm wrong, but the ordinance was read on the February the 10th meeting. And in that, the ordinance does not include the purchase price. It's simply an ordinance authorizing the council to sell the property. So that was when we introduced the ordinance. And then on the 6th is when we had the public hearing on the latest offer that we had, which is $165,000. That same ordinance carried through that one. And then the council passed that ordinance, voted on the ordinance, and the sale of the property for $165,000.
Well, I've listened to the recording twice now.
Okay.
And it was clearly stated that the ordinance was being entered and the sale price at $191,000. And there was, during the public hearing, there was no reasoning why that meeting said one thing and then the final purchase price ended up being something else. It was never explained to the public that, yes, it was entered at $191,000 on the record, and then when the final sale went through, it was $165,000. There was a lack of communication there as to what happened with that $26,000.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I think what the council could have done a better job at doing is saying from the time of introduction to passing that the first offer, they withdrew their offer because of the zoning issue.
Okay. So I guess my second part of that question was, what did end up happening with the money from the sale of Camp Hall? Was it in fact utilized for water sewer reserve? Was it used for debt reduction?
I don't know that that money's been spent yet. I don't have a direct answer for that right now.
Okay, well, is that still the plan as of now?
I can't say that it's gonna be or not. It depends on, what the new budget says and what the bills will look like. We're gonna try to do the best we can with the money, moving forward.
Okay.
I can't give you a specific answer. I know you want one right now, but I simply don't have one for you. Unless the council comes to them and tell you how they're gonna spend the money. They spend the money, but I don't know where it's gonna go exactly.
So there will be a follow-up to that question?
You can ask us at a later date, maybe we'll have an answer for you.
Okay.
All right, Amanda Weaver?
I guess I'll start with the public concern that you guys already agreed on using the money from the house for debt reduction. So how can you sit up there and justify saying that you're not sure how you're gonna spend it? You've already voted on it. Where's the disconnect for that? Where's the disconnect from you guys coming in, voting on one thing, affirming one thing, saying it on video, coming into the next meeting, nothing is brought up, and it's a totally different ballgame. Where is that in the Open Meetings Act? What part are you guys following? Is it like an asterisk part, or is it the Greensboro Open Meetings Act? What's
I
that?
haven't said what the money's gonna be spent for. That's the whole point of it.
No, it was declared. It's in the meeting minutes that you guys put out in the group. Give me a second. I got a screenshot. I'll read it to you.
I know it was said in that meeting. I'm
Well, then
just
what?
being-
Then what don't you understand?
Don't argue with me. I'm saying that
Are you okay?
I'm agreeing with
You
you.
probably shouldn't respond because you're not allowed to talk back to me. Do you guys have the answers for the questions I presented last month? No back and forth during the public comment. Kim probably shouldn't have answered you.
You're not in public comment right
Oh, I'm sorry, during this. I'm
now.
gonna do
You're
a
not in
letter
charge,
responding.
you're not in charge of this meeting.
The hell she
So,
ain't.
You're not in charge either.
If you'd
So,
like
do you
to
guys
have
have
the
the
answers,
answers?
would you like to have the answers?
I would like to fucking hear her, please. Thank you.
Chris,
Yes.
Before I get pissed off.
Chris, don't start yelling.
Well, I want to hear what she has to say. He keeps
I
fucking
understand.
interrupting her. It's
They're
pissing me
trying-
off.
they're trying to
This is a
answer
public
questions.
fucking meeting. She's on the agenda. I want to hear what the hell she has to say.
Please stop yelling into the crowd.
Well,
okay?
then let her
It's
speak.
time to talk, okay.
Jesus Christ.
So the questions that you asked was, what are we gonna do with the charter? When are we gonna update the charter?
Okay.
And the answer to that is, it's not a simple process, and hopefully going forward, we'll be able to work on it this upcoming year. Secondly, you asked when the police vehicles were gonna be marked. The chief has had a meeting with a vendor, and those vehicles should be marked hopefully within the next 2 weeks. So that the answer to the question that you had.
I've got more, there was more questions. If we would review
Mayor, I
all
think
of
there
them.
was one more about, the finances.
About what?
The finances and what you were doing in the interim without.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I passed over that one. So the answer to that question was currently the deputy town manager and the building clerk are working with the new town manager, whom will be starting early budget, and we're also working with the CPA to have everything currently reviewed and to get the 23 audit straightened out. So
Okay.
with that, we're working on getting that correct.
But per the charter, it's the mayor's responsibility. So what happened to that? Did we just dictate that elsewhere to two people who don't have any, I'm sorry, Jamie and Dawn, that don't have any background in budgeting? Is that what's happened?
I'm sorry, I don't follow your question.
It's not their job. Why are they doing it?
Well, actually, Jamie is the acting town manager, that is part of her responsibility to work on the budget.
Right, well, per the charter, it's your job.
And I have been working on it with her.
You just now said that, Bill. That's not what your entire argument's been the whole time. I guess another question that I have is, you guys are selling that building, and then I had a bird come to my house today, really weird, Rebecca, came to my house today and told me that you guys were gonna purchase a building on Mill Street for the Historical Society. And I'm just curious if there was any truth to that. So I figured if I said it now at a meeting, it's on the public record, and then somebody would be able to tell me if I'm right or wrong.
I have not heard anybody in the town government talking about buying
We've had
that.
no discussion about that.
Oh, I just figured I'd ask, I mean, put it out there. So what is the plan with moving the police department? Keep the historical society where it is? And will there be a public meeting for the historical society being moved? Because I remember that Bob and Dave were very passionate about having that public meeting to hear opinions.
Well, actually, the historical society is on the agenda later on, so maybe that'll come up in the discussion.
So is there gonna be a meeting for the public to say whether or not what they want done with the historical society? Remember, you guys were saying how important it was to announce that meeting and have people come here. Or has that changed?
I'm not familiar with what you're talking about.
Kim, is that on the audio? I think that's on the audio. You and
Probably.
Bob, this was before you fired me. You guys were back and forth about how important it was to have a meeting, and Cindy was really passionate, so was Kathy. They were worried about where the doors were gonna go, things like
I
that.
think we had a meeting where the historical society president was here and a lot of the public spoke on the behalf
That's
of
the
that.
meeting I'm talking about, and you were like, we're gonna have a meeting just for this reason. That's the meeting I'm talking about. So is that gonna happen?
So I think we've had that meeting when the
When,
historical society spoke, it's been a couple meetings ago.
are you sure?
Dude, Alzheimer's is real.
So, Mayor, I think the conversation was that, before the council was going to vote to move the historical society or expend any money, you would have it on the agenda and hear from the public prior to doing that. But you're not prepared to do that at this time because plans for the town office and the police department have not been determined yet.
That's correct.
But prior to
We have not made plans.
making a decision on that, you will post it on an agenda and hear from the public.
Right, if the council would like to do so, yes.
You guys have already voted on that. Again, you already decided that. And then my final thing is that I was just thinking about with, transparency and moving forward because nobody trusts you guys. You guys are looking to hire a town manager. What is your approach to hearing from town residents about who you're gonna hire? Have you guys thought about having a public forum, asking for residents to sit on a panel, or anything of that nature? Or you guys feeling confident in who you're gonna pick? Because we've had some pretty, not the best luck with town managers, so it appears to be the past few times, so I was curious what your process was moving forward, getting public input on that.
That's a personnel decision that will be made by the council.
It's a personnel decision that
Will be made by the
input-
council.
Public input's not important on this
I
one.
didn't say that, I said that
No,
the
I'm
decision
asking.
would be made by the council.
I'm asking you though, is the public input not relative to the new town manager?
I didn't say that. I said
I-
the decision will be made by the council.
I don't, let me try it again. I'm gonna ask a question now, and the question is public input relevant to the new town manager?
Public input is relevant. The problem is the public doesn't participate in the hiring process.
Here, but other places it does.
Well, that I'm not aware of, but I know that if I wanna go to work for the store next door, they don't invite the public in because I'm gonna be dealing with the public or the interview panel. So we have a process. We develop a panel. We bring in outside entities to come sit on that panel.
Who was on the panel?
Who was on the panel?
Or is it still in progress?
No, the interviews have occurred.
So who was on the panel?
That's a personnel decision that we're not able to release.
The public's not allowed to know who interviewed for the new town manager?
It's a personnel decision I don't think we're at liberty to discuss.
Really,
So-
you can discuss salaries, but not who interviewed people?
Potentially, I'm not sure how the interviews went, but maybe prior to hiring or onboarding someone, you can explain to the public the process that you went through in advertising and how you selected applicants and the interview panel. But not at this time because you just conducted interviews and you haven't moved forward with that. I haven't been involved in the process, so I don't know how to.
You haven't been involved,
No, I issued the advertisement,
Right.
but I haven't.
and all the resumes came through you?
They went to my assistant and then she sent them to all the council, but that has been our only involvement. I didn't
There's like
participate.
35 resumes or something?
I'm not sure.
Right, and you guys, have you landed on somebody?
We have conducted interviews, and we have not hired anybody yet.
When do we look to see the new town manager?
I don't know, I don't have an answer for you right now.
Okay, I think that's it. Look forward to seeing the police department letter. Jamie, Dawn, thanks for doing all the great things. Brandon, John at Parcel, great. Lindsay, thanks for coming up.
Excuse me, anybody that hasn't signed in, can you guys go ahead and do that now, please? Yeah, there's a couple people who came in and haven't signed in.
All right, at this point, I will look for the council to review and approve the minutes from the April the 17th meeting, the May 1st meeting, and the May 8th meeting, and the amended minutes from March the 6th. So I'll look for a motion for comment on first on the April 17th minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve April 17th.
In a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? May the 1st.
I'm making a motion to accept the workshop.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
May 1st minutes are approved. May the 8th,
I'll make a motion to approve the May 8th, 2025 meeting minutes.
our motion's made in the second.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And also for the amended minutes from March the 6th meeting.
Make the motion to accept the amended minutes on March 6th.
All right, motion is made. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All the minutes are approved. Thank you. Department reports, town manager.
Okay, I met with Chad from the Historical Society on April 21st with Pete and Christina. I sent out business license renewal letters early May, and they're due May 30th. May 13th, we did town manager interviews. Water shutoffs were May 14th. Julie and Brandon, since the last meeting, have done code enforcement. They've been doing it, but since the last meeting, they sent out 89 letters and 9 written citations. Trash seems to be their biggest issue at the moment. Dawn and I have been working with Todd, reviewing budget and auditor info. Dawn has been learning the new sign and website, and Julie and I are also learning it. And Dawn is working on resolving unpaid bills so homes don't get sent to tax sale, and a lot have come in and been resolved. We have the fishing derby and Kensington Park event this Saturday. And then the last thing I have is that council needs to decide on the June 5th meeting if we want to make it our regular meeting as well as passing the budget meeting, since June 19th is the holiday.
All right, does anybody have any questions for Jamie? All right, so right now we have the June 5th state meeting set up as a special meeting for budget purposes, but we could also make it a regular meeting so that we can have our regular meeting for the month, since the holiday falls on the 3rd Thursday, if the council would like to do that.
Is that a fair legal representation?
The 5th? Yes, but I will see if someone can cover.
All right, so what would the council like to do?
Make it a regular meeting.
Yeah.
Make it a regular meeting.
That's fine.
All right, so you wanna make the June 5th the regular meeting, and then the meeting on the 19th, which would then otherwise be a workshop, would be canceled due to the holiday.
Yeah.
All right. Yes. Town attorney.
The only update I have is the Halo Greensboro, which was the special exception application that went to the Board of Appeals, has appealed to the Circuit Court. I did file an entry of appearance on behalf of the Town of Greensboro Board of Appeals, just because I didn't want to miss the deadline for filing to participate. But I need direction from you all as to whether you want to participate to defend that appeal, or just to allow Halo Greensboro to make their argument and let a court decide without opposition. And for purposes of understanding, I guess, the expense, which is probably what would weigh into the decision, The town is required to put together the record 60 days from appeal, and the appellant, who is Halo Greensboro, is responsible for paying the cost of the transcript, which we have ordered the transcript and they will pay that cost. Then they have 30 days to file their arguing memorandum. The town, if the town participates, would draft a memorandum in response to that. Then you have a hearing. Generally, the hearing is only about an hour or two because you really put the argument in the memorandum. So it's drafting a memo and potentially a couple hours of a hearing.
Well, I know that at the hearing, I spoke against this approval of this. I don't think that anybody wants to see any more of the panels coming into the town, but I don't know that we have the legal standing to win a battle in court. So I'll hear what the council wants to do.
I do want to say before you start getting into conversation about it, I don't want to get into the town's legal position and any benefits or detriments in proceeding with representation or not in the public record.
So I did give you my answer over email, which
Yes.
I said, let's see what the court does first, to see if they go ahead and, I guess, change the Board of Appeals decision.
Yes, I did receive that.
Yeah.
I think you said me too, but I wasn't sure if the me too was to that me too or a different me too.
I agree with Joe. I mean, I did say I agree. I mean, I just let it go. I mean, how much money do we want to spend if it could cost us more? I just let the judge make the decision. They're not gonna stop it.
Well,
They own the property.
here's the problem I have. I understand the court system and the process, but I also think we as the council need to support the planning and zoning and the board of appeals.
Microphone,
Commissioner, I can't hear you.
microphone, please.
Bring it up to your face. Can you hear me now? Nope.
No.
Guess I'm gonna have to hug the damn thing. Okay. I said, I think we should support the Board of Appeals. I don't know how much that's gonna cost, but I think we as the council should support the Board of Appeals. The Board of Appeals had a hearing, and they opposed it. These people are filing an appeal, and I think we should do whatever it takes to back up the Board of Appeals. I don't know what that's gonna cost. That's where we would have to have a discussion with you, but, to have the Board of Appeals have the hearing, go through this, and then all of a sudden us just say, well, let's just see what the courts do and just sit here and tread water waiting. That's not very supportive. Those people come out of their homes. It took a lot of time. They listened to everything, and they're acting in our best interest. I think we should support them.
Christine, did you have anything you wanted to say?
I agree with Pete. I would like to fight.
So do you need for us to vote, give you an answer? How do you want us to give you an answer?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to have your support so that I can move forward with defending the case. So if you can vote that I can enter my appearance or keep my appearance entered in the case. And I will do whatever I can to keep the costs as low as possible.
All right, then, so I will look for a motion from the council to authorize our attorney to enter.
So, can I give an explanation why I said no? Can I do that? Why I said let's wait to see how the court is gonna situate, see if they'll overturn it or not?
Yeah.
Just so the public knows, I mean, I do care about the solar panels, don't get me wrong, but I'm looking at everything else. I'm looking at the big picture too. Like the sale of the house, what we're gonna use the money for. Like, I have to let you know, like, Legit is gonna help us pay for this sinkhole that happened behind the house, but we're gonna have to pay for it also. So yes, we're gonna have to take some of that sale money, we're gonna have to pay for that sinkhole that happened. So I'm looking at the big picture also. I'm not against fighting for the solar panels, but I'm looking at our bank. So I'm not against fighting for our town to keep the solar panels out. I'm just trying to look at how we're gonna pay for everything. That's it.
All right, thank you, Joe.
I make a motion to support the Board of Appeals and Lindsay continues with her legal process.
All right, so we have a motion made to support the appeal and allow our attorney to enter herself as a representative for us to fight the case. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Is there any opposition?
Nay.
So that's 2-2. Let's vote to fight it.
Okay.
All right, under old business, the Historical Society, the purpose for having this on the agenda is so that Pete and Christina can let the council. I'm sorry, what?
We skipped over Brandon, sorry. For town.
Oh, Brandon, I'm sorry. You're not on the agenda.
I was gonna say, to your defense, they forgot.
So Brandon, what infinite wisdom do you have for us tonight?
Well, the East Lift Station, the biggest thing, we did the code violation grass, and there's actually probably another 20 plus that's on that list that we gotta wait on. The East Lift Station was cleaned out. First time that was done in almost 2 years since installing the Muffin Monster, which is great because it cut back on a lot of maintenance that we had to do prior to that. The problem is when they got down there to it, we noticed that the Muffin Monster did not seem to be running like it should at full potential. So we went ahead and pulled it up. Come to find out there was a spider insert gear. I sent you all pictures, I think, of the gear. We were able to locate that gear in Delmar, Delaware, instead of DA. So I sent the guy to get it. We got it all put back in there. Everything's going good. We had a couple call outs for the E1s. One of them, we had to do a retrofit. The other one, we were able to pull the pump, and there was baby socks in there. And currently, we got 2 trucks down. One that's been down for almost a month now with camshaft issues. They keep getting parts in, and they say that the parts are faulty. They put it all back together and so they're dealing with the insurance. Apparently this is not something that's uncommon according to the dealer. And then the dump truck decided that it wants to shut off just when you're driving down the road, when you're making a turn. So it put my guys at risk, and I'm not okay with that. So needless to say, it's been down for about 2 weeks. It's sitting at the Ford dealer, and hopefully we'll get that back soon. Storm drain at 101 Rose Street's been installed, as you guys requested. It took us a couple days to do it. We did it in little phases. The only thing that's left is we'll get some time after everything settles. We'll pull the cold patch up and put some hot mix down there. We did the semi-annual hydrant flushing. That went very well. The only concern with the hydrants, we have one down Mill Street. After the fire department could not get their adapter on there. Come to find out, it's an old Baltimore City fire hydrant that don't know how it got here, but it's here. And so I'm working with Dover Plumbing to get the right fittings put on that so that way they can hook up to it. Harold Street generator is leaking antifreeze. It's at the top of the radiator. I've been getting a couple of quotes on getting that repaired. And then just on rainy days, we've just been servicing the equipment.
So I noticed, Brandon, that you guys have been cutting a lot of grass here recently. How are you making out with equipment-wise? Are you finding issues with cutting grasses that you don't know what's there? Is it causing any damage to the equipment?
We did one yard, and there was some wood in the yard that tore up a set of blades. Other than that, everything went pretty smooth.
So I know it's not on the agenda tonight, Lindsay, so if it's not appropriate for me to talk about it, you can correct me. But I would like to know the process, if the council was inclined to increase the fines for us cutting the grass. It appears that we're doing the same ones over and over and over again. Currently, they get one fine, and then for any second or subsequent violation, they get another fine. There's nothing in there that counts for the hours that our people spend cutting grass when they should be doing other business for their town, and secondarily for the wear and tear of our equipment and those kinds of things. So I personally would like to see the council revisit the fines for those violations.
So, let's add, grass cutting to an upcoming agenda, either June or July, depending on how full your June agenda is, and we can discuss, the frequency of violations that are issued, the amount of violations, and any additional fees that could be added.
Okay, so I'd like to put that on the next agenda then, please, because otherwise the summer will be over with and we'll be talking about this again next year. Thank you. Thank you, Brendan, I'm sorry. Okay, so now, the chief, did you have anything you wanted to report tonight? You're not on here either, but I see we have a report from you.
We have received a complaint of several young citizens entering the open houses at Kidman Meadows. I've actually done quite a few patrol checks, and I've walked through the houses that are freely open. Some of them are almost complete. Some of them are, in between. So I just wanted, to put on record that, we will increase our patrol checks, especially during the evening hours of those new houses, so they don't get damaged or, someone is, trying to set up shop there to sleep. So that was a big concern that came in, and that will be addressed.
You might want to reach out to the builder to see if they have any interest in putting some type of security cameras or something out there to help identify these instances.
Yes, I did that in the beginning when they came here, but I will certainly revisit that with the manager.
Has there been any damage, or are they just going in and?
So far, just what's been reported, or they're being seen going in and out of the houses. I think they have 5 houses there, so they're just kind of just hanging around and just doing what I guess kids do.
Okay.
One of the kids could get hurt too, not just the property. The
But-
child could get hurt.
Yes, there's dumpsters, there's nails, so we're concerned for obviously the property damage or injury sustained by somebody who's on those properties. Lots of traffic assignments. I'd like to report that K9 Mosley has taken effect April 27th. She's doing very well with Sergeant Adams. So far, we've had 6 K9 scans. 5 have been within the town of Greensboro. Some of them have been our own. Some have been assisting other departments. One scan, the 6th scan, was at 404 in the Denton area, so that's within the 10-mile radius. We've had 3 drug arrests out of those K9 scans. So just wanted to put that, to let you know that your vote-in is well appreciated, and we're doing work with the K9 dog and getting drugs off the streets, and people having, bench warrants, arrest warrants. So it's been a great tool. So I wanted to thank the council for voting, for the K9 and the citizens who asked for it and made their comment. So it's been very successful so far. But it's been a good month. We've had 3 drug arrests, 2 traffic arrests, lots of traffic assignments where those concerns have been popping up. So we're out there being seen, slowing people down, and taking enforcement action.
All right, thank you. Does anybody on the council have any questions for the chief? Okay. Under old business, we have the Greensboro Historical Society. That was put on the agenda so that Christina and Pete could have the opportunity to address the rest of the council how that meeting went.
Well, we met with Chad. I thought it was a positive meeting. We discussed looking at potential options if we needed to take that building back. He had some suggestions that Chad, meaning Chad had some suggestions that he was going to look into, some options for places that we may be able to move if we needed to. And we also had some suggestions, and we said we would keep our eyes out for other spaces as well. That's where the Mill Street idea came in, because I was looking at places around town. I am on the board for the Historical Society, and I asked, what is being done with it, because it's a vacant space. I didn't know if it was something that the Historical Society could purchase, because I was told that it was up for tax auction. So I was looking at places that we could beautify and utilize, but never was it said the council was purchasing. It was looking into options, as we said that we would at that meeting. Chad was going to get some ideas on some costs if we did have to move, and no decision has been made as of yet, and we still are in correspondence with Chad. Yes, it is looking like we may need to retain that building, but no vote has been made, so that's why there has not been any input from the community. We're still working, we're still looking at options, and that's where we are. Pete, did you have anything to add?
Well, in the meeting, we talked about possibly using the MDE. We talked about using the MDE conference room, and we heard a rumor that the library may be downsizing. So I went to the library, as I told Chad, and they just renewed everything for 4 years, so the library's not moving. Matter of fact, they may enhance the services there. So that space was a no, but the conference room between MDE's office or MRDC's office and the library, that was talked to about one time about possibly using because it's an inactive space. He mentioned that the fire department had some space, and he'd been speaking with their board of directors. So there's a lot of options discussed, a lot of things discussed, but no real decisions. We actually left there. It was a good meeting, it was a productive meeting. He had some good insight, we had some suggestions, and it turned out to be very productive. Jamie, was there, did you have anything to add?
Chad did look into, the fire hall as of now, last updated, anybody here, he wasn't getting a response back. He said it was radio silence from the fire department. Is
And
that?
I'm aware, we haven't heard anything from the fire department that I am aware of.
Yes, so that's where we are with that option. But again, we all value the Historical Society. We are trying to keep it within the town limits. No final decision has been made, but we're all aware that something needs to be done. And we are working to try and work out a solution that works out for everybody. And that's where we are.
What's the timeline?
No timeline,
You gotta have a
as
timeline.
of yet, because we have not had a vote on anything yet, we're still looking. But, as soon as we do have our final hearing on the matter, then the timeline will be discussed if we have to move with everybody's input to try.
But that's like a final date. I'm saying, what's your timeline?
Oh,
to
we just, I mean,
do this?
I would like to know one way or another definitively before June, because we have to work out the budget and what that looks like, if we have to renovate a space, if we're moving down there, or if we need to, whatever we need to do. I would like to have it resolved one way or another so we know before June. So we'll be meeting again with Chad and whoever wants to meet.
But the thing is we're on the Historical Society. I'm the vice president, and I haven't been made aware of any of these meetings from Chad, so, and I don't see Chad here,
So,
so.
I'm
Chad-
sorry.
Chad was made aware of this meeting, he chose not to come apparently. Or
Well, he
couldn't
couldn't
attend.
make this meeting. And he said if no decision has been made, he didn't feel the need to be here, he had something else to do. But we will be
A
meeting.
bunch of stuff to do too.
Well, what's Sheriff Baker's timeline, because the police department's out of compliance, was my understanding.
Right.
that's not just sitting there dithering, I'm sure. Somebody's got time for that. I can't imagine they're letting the chief just.
There's gotta be a sense of urgency.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, the public can comment during public comment, but everyone's starting to yell out and now it's kind of getting out of hand and it makes it hard for the minutes and everything, so thank you.
You just call for order, that's, it's.
So
So
you
the-
as well, so if you could please stop interrupting, that would be really, really
It was
helpful.
the first time.
Thank you. It's the second tonight.
I got number 3 for you.
Yeah, I heard
Three's
it.
a charm.
There we go. Thank
Look
you.
at Robert's rules.
All right, come on now, please, everybody. So the public, we have on the agenda tonight. I can't imagine that it's any secret that this conversation has been going on about the Historical Society. I know we had a meeting here where the Historical Society was here and a lot of their representatives, and the public also spoke on it. It may not have been advertised specifically as a public hearing on the Historical Society, but I know it was discussed in an open meeting. I do agree that we need to give the Historical Society an answer one way or the other so that the town can move on with whatever decision they're gonna make as far as relocating their personnel. And again, we would like to do that as soon as possible. We also would like to get our new town manager on board to help make that decision. So, the council, what I'd like for you to decide tonight is if you're ready to make a vote on whether or not you want to formally advise the Historical Society that we're going to retake the building and they need to make plans to move out. It's either that or reschedule and have a public hearing on the matter so that the public can speak on it. But one or the other needs to be done so that we don't keep kicking the can down the road.
All right. Let me comment here. I'm sorry. Hold on. Mayor, council, this was already discussed. We said that we were gonna ask him to leave at one meeting, then we come back, then we say we don't know if we want him to leave or not. We need our building back. Let's stop playing with the Historic Society, please. You already know that we all need the building back. Let's just come up with the date. Please, let's just stop and come up with the date tonight.
I play games, it's so stupid.
Well, that's kind of what I was asking for. Thank you.
So, I don't want to be the pause in positive action or moving forward, but it's not on the agenda. As far as the Historic Society is on there, but not specifically relocation. And so I think it'd be more fair to the public to post an agenda with relocation of Historical Society on an agenda so that they're aware and can participate if they're so inclined.
Absolutely.
All right, so you want to put that on the June 5th and then meeting, we might be here till midnight, but okay.
Remember I said I wasn't available.
You will be here now. All right, so we're gonna make a decision on June the 5th. All right, good deal. All right, new business, I-2 zoning ordinance.
Would you like me to give an
Yes,
overview?
please.
Okay. So this is ordinance number 2025-04, which is an ordinance of the town of Greensboro to amend section 10.20 of the Greensboro Land and Development Ordinance to establish reasonable zoning regulations for utility facilities. And within the ordinance, it talks about concern about public and private utility facilities and causing environmental damage, land degradation, and economic impacts, which if you introduce or approve this, you are seeking to reduce. So what this ordinance does is it removes public utility facilities and private utility facilities, which are renewable energy sources such as solar, hydro, wind, biofuels, wood, geothermal, or similar sources, as special exception uses in all residential zones, so that's R1, R2, and R3, and out of the I-2 zoning district. So you would not be permitted to apply for a special exception for a private or public utility facility in any of those districts, which as of right now
Private and public utility facilities are permitted by special exception in all zoning districts.
So thank you. So the permit that we talked about earlier, had this been in effect, would not have been granted, would have been eligible underneath our zoning regulations.
Correct.
If this
And
is passed.
yes,
It does not have any effect on that one, but moving forward, maybe,
we'll see.
we'll see.
With this ordinance, what I tried to do was to eliminate these more industrial scale businesses from residential areas and the I-2, which is a lesser scale industrial, more building type, and then leave it in the more appropriate highway commercial, central commercial, and industrial, which is your larger property districts.
All right, thank you. So ordinance 2025-04 is an ordinance of the town of Greensboro to amend section 10.20 of the Greensboro Land and Development Ordinance to establish reasonable zoning regulations for utility facilities. I'll look for a sponsor for that tonight. I'll sponsor. Mr. Brewer. And we will vote on that.
Yes, so we are going to refer it to the planning commission so that they can review it and find that it's consistent with the
May take some
comprehensive.
time for us to get around.
Yes, so they'll review it at their next meeting, and then you'll have a public hearing in June.
All right, thank you. All right, moving on to public comment. We have here Kim Ernst. Going for round two?
I am.
Okay.
So, I know there's probably a lot of chatter around about what some would consider like bashing or bad talk or whatever, and I really can't help that that's the majority of the subject matter. But I am an equal opportunity person, so there's a few people I would like to thank tonight. And I'm gonna start here and move around. Chief Trams, I appreciate you letting me know the new procedure when I asked for the statistical reports, because I was not aware until then. Been asking for them for a few months, and it was never an issue to get them from you directly until here recently. By recommendation of Mrs. Spencer, I have also requested the statistical reports from the Maryland State Police, in addition to the county and from Chief, so that we have all three for review. I would like to thank Brandon for being on the site of the fire on Saturday and assisting the fire marshal with anything that he needed. I would like to thank Jamie for getting information to me in a timely fashion when I asked for it. I would like to thank Christina for being on site at the fire on Saturday and assisting the displaced innocent family that was displaced. And then that just leads me to, I understand the fire literally just happened and it's probably still under investigation, but because it was a total loss, is there a time frame for demolition of a property when that happens? That is, like, is there do they have so long to get the debris out?
Well, I know if it's an insurance claim, you're gonna have to wait for the insurance company to, whatever they're gonna do for the payout. So I would have the feeling they would have to bring in their investigators to check it all out. Then they would, I guess, determine what the time frame would be.
Okay, so we don't really have a clear answer. It could be a
Correct.
year.
Yeah, so from the town's perspective, the town doesn't really go to court to try to condemn a property to have it demolished unless it becomes a public or private nuisance. So if you start seeing individuals hanging around or it seems unsafe, that's helpful to the town, so we know that it's becoming an issue. But if it's not, we don't really get involved just because it's a financial issue.
Okay. And I did look up the case with Halo today as well, and I saw Miss Christopher is an interested party. I plan to also be an interested party, and maybe some others to help support the board and the the council and the
Good.
town as a whole.
Good.
So, that's it.
Thank you.
Amanda Weaver.
I just wanna make sure I understand. The next meeting, you guys are going to vote on what's happening with the Historical Society. And that will happen after the public comment on what they would like to see, or are we not doing that? Because at the beginning of the meeting, you guys said you were gonna do it.
I thought we discussed that in public, and then we'll have our vote.
Yeah.
Okay, so at the next meeting,
It will be a public
a
hearing
public hearing, the public,
regarding relocation of historic
so
society.
then the historical society, people that promote that, they can come.
Yes.
This year at least. Okay, and then the other thing I just wanted to share about reevaluating the grass signs is I think it's a waste of your time. Why is it a waste of my time? Because you send these signs, they don't pay the fines. They go to court, we pay Lindsay to go to court, and the judge says, cut your grass, don't worry about paying the fine. It's a waste of time, so, it's just a habitual cycle that you constantly repeat. I don't know if there's another way that you could avoid it, but taking the time to add money to the fines, to send Lindsay more, to spend her money, it just is ridiculous. Thanks.
So what would your suggestion be to how to handle that? I mean, if we don't go cut it, just let it grow?
I mean, I just said, I don't know what the plan is, so, I don't know.
Put a lien on the house.
All right.
Put a lien on the house, that's what Chris says.
All right, thank you. Chris Mason.
Alright, so I guess you did read my email that I sent to you about changing the ordinance.
I did, so,
Which is amazing.
well, and,
Don't
let me
take my
stop this,
time,
I'm not,
pause it.
I just wanna clarify to the public that when you send me emails, I'm trying to be as helpful as possible, but also limit the town's budget, so I have been trying to forward emails that I know that Jamie is capable of answering, but if you don't receive a response in a reasonable amount of time, you can reach back out.
That's fine, I'm glad you read my email.
Yeah.
Change the ordinance, done deal, no
Can I
court
turn this
case.
back on?
Yes.
Okay.
I'd like to thank Strams for meeting with me tomorrow. Look forward to that, educating myself a little more on the policing stuff. I will help with the lawsuit if you need me to, if it goes that far. I have a bunch of government certifications for MD stuff, all kinds of stuff, so I can help with that. Susquehanna. So Brandon, they've been on the payroll as a sub for about a year now, Susquehanna. And when you guys sold this pipe dream to us of $160,000 extra than the other company, they are supposed to be training Brandon and one other person. With that apprenticeship, they have to get a state license, an apprenticeship card through the state, and I'm assuming that hasn't happened yet. So we've wasted so far 1 year into their contract where he's not being trained. So what's gonna happen is when their contract's up in 2-3 years and he's still not fully trained, or the other person ain't trained, now we're right back to square one and we're signing another contract with these people. So we're in a lose-lose situation and they're putting us in a lose-lose situation. And yeah, so it's definitely something to look into. They have to sponsor him, they have to sign the apprenticeship card, the whole 9 yards. It's a usually 3-4 year process, then he can take his test or somebody else as a backup can take their test. But we're gonna be right back to square one, signing another contract with Susquehanna because they got you by the balls because he doesn't have his license. So, that's that.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Mr. Chapman.
Thank you. A suggestion for the grass cutting for the sliding scale out there for repeat offenders. When the fine gets high enough, maybe the judge will do his job and not just wave it away because of fire. Sit down, have a meeting, get a sliding scale that makes it more important.
We must just be cheaper than a regular lawn service.
Well, we shouldn't, just don't be cheaper than
We can public humiliate him on our page.
the Historical Society. Just to make it real clear, been a lot of talk about potentials this, potentials that, options here, options there. We have no options.
It's an option.
We have 0 options of where to move. You are in grave danger of the Historical Society being relocated to another town. That's as real a possibility right now as me standing up here saying that to you. So don't have illusions that there's gonna be a place we can move to. We don't have a place. We don't have a good potential for a place. The meeting room at the library, good thought, nowhere near adequate, it's not big enough. Access to it would be difficult, that's not gonna work. The canine report said 6 scams, chief. but the report only says one. So what's the framework for the 6? Is that posted today?
So I updated that as of today, yes.
Oh, okay, so that includes that one?
Yes.
Okay.
So this isn't accurate, or it was for May?
That's accurate as when the report was printed. However, they've got a lot more since then.
My last point is, we have to fight the solar panel project. Courts are lazy, they didn't used to be, but they are now. If you don't show up, it's like you don't care. If it costs us money, we'll figure out a way to get it. We always have figured out how to get money for other stuff. We need to show up, we need to fight for that, make them understand that the case matters to the people in this town. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on now to council remarks. Christina?
So I'd like to thank Chief Trams and Officer Adams. There was a sensitive case that they stood out and were very patient, and they waited, and I watched them wait for hours to be there for someone who was in crisis and got that person the help that they needed. They didn't rush in, they took the time to gain that person's trust, and I mean, it was just textbook. I'd like to thank the community, because when the fire took place, the community showed up like a community. Everyone was asking about where they could donate. Kim was out there and she posted it on their website, and that's the community that I think that we can be. As far as the Historical Society goes, I am still diligently working every day to try and find a workable solution to the situation that we find ourselves in, because I'm on that council as well, and I know what a valuable entity it is to this community, and I just really hope that everyone knows that it is difficult trying to work this all out with limited resources and funds, and we take it home. Well, I take it home every day. I take it to sleepless nights and restless mornings trying to figure out, countless phone calls, still reaching out. So, Mr. Bill, I understand where you are, and I just hope that the community can continue to come together like they did to find ways out of no ways, and that's it.
Anything, Joe?
I don't have anything.
Okay, Bobby?
Station Derby, Saturday, 9 to 11, and kids in the park from 12 to 2, so bring everybody out, looks like it's gonna be a good day.
And we need volunteers.
Yeah, if anybody wants to volunteer, be there at 7:30 for start set up. Pete?
First off, weather's gonna be bad tomorrow, so be careful. There's gonna be some pop-up thunderstorms, it's gonna get real windy, it's gonna be a really nasty day, on and off. And secondly, can I get a new chair, because I keep sinking as I talk. I keep pumping it up, I keep slowly going down.
We can't afford it.
It's going to solar.
Somebody's trying to tell you something, Pete.
Just take Jamie and do it.
All right, thank you. I don't have any remarks for tonight, so I will look for a motion to adjourn the meeting and go into an executive session to get legal advice and personnel discussion.
Make a motion.
And a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.